Hello and welcome back to Tekkit Speedrun with me, James ES. Today is our exploration episode, although it's more like a building episode because I still need to finish that train station. I always have this really bad habit of leaving things like only half built. Like I'll start building something and then just not work on it for ages. Well, today I thought, you know, I'm just going to get this station done and dusted, and well, I can safely say that is what happened. It actually did, yeah. Of course, before I started work on the station, I did a good few minutes of this grinding thing where I just get loads of free bone meal. It's got to be done. It's got to be done, and I want everything to be included. I mean, I could have done this outside of the recording, but, like, everything's being recorded. I'm serious, like, hence the timer, you know. I want you guys to be there every step of the way, even through, you know, these little grinds that I have to do. And although I said I'd start the power suit this episode, I didn't really see the need to, seeing as I was just going to be building and it's like completely safe. When I need a power suit, I'll start working on it, you know? I don't see the point otherwise. Well, you know, I could spread it out a little bit so that it doesn't take so long when it comes to doing it. Mind you, sped up, I don't think it'll be that bad. But I'm not going to go on about that again. I went on about that like the whole, for too long last time. Anyway, I think you'll like the look of the station once it's finished. I was going to go for staircases inside. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the actual rail lines. I had the idea of connecting them and actually having like I think you can get a junction track block and having that in the middle. Oh wait, no. Wait, I've fucked that up already. Okay, you haven't seen it yet, but I fucked up that possibility in the way that I built it, which also actually turned out to be an issue with the way that I'm going to do the stations, because basically I was going to put the waypoint in the middle and then travel 1,000 blocks in each direction. And then at the 1,000th block exactly, that would be the middle of the next station. The problem is, I messed that up too. Basically, I made it so the middle block of the building is not accessible. At least not easily, not without... I built there, okay? I built in the way. But I can still do it. I just have to... I'm going to do it 1,000 blocks from the point at which I place the waypoint. And then I'm going to do the same with the following stations. They're all going to have to be the exact same design, which is a bit boring. Might use different materials actually, but they have to be the same size. Otherwise, when it comes to connect them up, like as part of the grid, they're not going to connect up properly. I mean, it can easily be rectified. I mean, it doesn't all have to be in straight lines. I can have a rail turn into the station if I do fuck it up, because I'm not going to rebuild the entire fucking track just because I made a silly mistake, basically. Yeah, me just thinking about design and misjudging where the middle was. That's pretty typical of me, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah, I was just I think I eventually decided to relog because it was being really weird and laggy, because I was right next to that fucking world hole, which is not a good place to be. But I get there eventually, you know, sort of get off to a bit of a clunky start, and then as soon as I get into the swing of things, everything speeds up a little bit. So yeah, the same way that I built the house, I sort of build the corners and sort of the frame of the structure first, and then I just sort of fill in the rest with whatever other materials. Makes it look a bit more interesting. So my idea, I don't know if I mentioned it before, the floor I'm standing on now is where the trains are all going to go from, and this is the level at which the trains are going to be on across the world, because they all need to be level with each other. Even though train tracks can go up and down, I think it's unrealistic. I know it's a game and it's Tekkit, and that's not really a big deal, but I think it looks better to have them level, which is it's just the way I'm doing it. Just deal. Just accept it. Oh, look, I ran out of bricks. That's very easily rectified thanks to my tweaking of the mineral processing system. There's so much stone ready to be made into bricks. Certainly not going to run out of that. In fact, the only thing I kind of ran out of was wood, but I'd already prepared for that. Actually, before this series started. And yeah, I'll show you another trick that you can do to help get a shit ton of wood really quickly. See, look, I have all the tips. Every episode you get a new tip. And maybe if you don't think my building designs are completely horrible, you can be like, yeah, you know what, I might try and build in a similar way. I'm not too impressed with the interior of this building, but I think when it's done, it looks pretty cool from the outside. But I don't know. I mean, compared to some builds that you see, it's really not all that. But you know, it's better than just building a big square building, like the other one is that I did last episode. Oh well, you know, you just do what you can. So yeah, clump all your saplings together, and then just whack it with tree capitator, and it just clears all. Look how much wood there is, and you'll see me replanting them in the same way. They will all grow, or most of them will grow. As you can see, like one of them didn't, and it just grows into a super cluster of trees. And tree capitator counts it as one giant tree. So in one hit, you just knock out all the trees. It's a pretty cool little trick, and it gets you so much wood so quickly, like I was saying. The only thing is it takes time, but you get so much. Oh yeah, and you lose saplings doing it like that. But the minute you start to run out, they're going to be just start spreading them out a bit more. It's not a big deal. At least I think that you lose saplings overall. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah. So the only sort of thing that I wasn't sure about with this, yeah, now you can see why I couldn't do anything from the middle, because I put a tree in the middle for some reason. I don't know. It was obviously for ladders, and to sort of give it more sort of structural support, and to give it something inside so that it's not just an empty space. It still feels quite empty, but I guess once I get signs up and stuff, and I'll have some chests with minecarts in. There's probably stuff in Steve's carts that's like rail related that will be helpful. Maybe put some maps up. I don't know. I'll make it look a bit more substantial on the inside later on at some point. But as these are meant to be exploration, you know, I don't want to spend too much time messing around building. The base building sort of / decorating side of things, actually that'll be the next episode. That's when that sort of shit gets done, you know, just making things look prettier, even though I suspect I'll be doing sort of work on the big builds that are outside the base at the moment. And then after that, back to working towards actually getting to space. It's nice to break these things up so that we're working on something kind of different each time, even though I will admit 2 building episodes, you know, but look, it's all starting to shape up, this entire little base thing. I mean, I think right at the end I did like a flyby and thought, this isn't so bad. When it's all done, it'll look really cool. I promise. Well, that's a tough promise, but so I'm done. I think yeah. Well, what I couldn't decide was whether to build another floor up, because the 3rd floor, which I keep neglecting to mention, is going to be an observation floor, so you can look over the world, and there'll be one of these on every station, because all the stations are going to be built in the same design. So I wasn't sure whether to build an actual floor or to just make it like an open roof. So I went for the sort of open roof. It's not completely open because I built a roof on it, but I thought the roof looks kind of cool. Although, even if it is just like a bit of a giant wooden umbrella on top of a stone structure, yeah, it's a bit of a mismatch there. But then it has got a tree going through it, so fuck it. So yeah, this is me putting up the supports. If there was physics in this game, I guarantee those fence posts would not hold this roof, but luckily I don't have to worry about that. I'm wondering actually, is there any sort of physics, like structural mods out there? I've not ever looked for it because, you know, I've just accepted the way that the Minecraft universe works to some extent. So yeah, I relogged every time that I got a world hole because just fuck that. It was horrible to look at, and it was really annoying seeing the sheep constantly falling through the world, and it was making it lag like crazy. Sometimes they sort themselves out, but most of the time, you know, it doesn't hurt to relog. It tends to be when you move between chunks. It's the server. I run the recording, the game and the server all off the same computer, so it does put a bit of a strain on the resources, you know. So yeah, this is me building up the roof. This is a style I've used before when building these kind of roofs. In fact, I did it on an actual, like, fairly big server called Civcraft. So yeah, the idea is, it was like Civilization in Minecraft. They had a load of mods on their server, but like it didn't require you to install any mods or anything. You could just go on as vanilla. They weren't like bucket plugins because it was 1.6. Well, you get Forge mods that work on the server, which you don't need to modify your client for. Anyway, yeah, I built like a massive wall, which took fucking forever, around what was going to be a palace and just the beginning of the base. But sadly, being a public server with essentially no rules, and having such a small faction, we were building New Beijing, of all places. Yeah, we were going to go for like Chinese style buildings and shit, but unfortunately, we got struck by Nazis. Yeah. Well, I don't know if they were just using the swastika as a joke, but yeah, they kind of dug underneath the base, and because quite a lot of it was made of wood, they set fire to it, and I mean the wall is still standing. Could still be standing. I mean, it'd take a long ass time to take that down, because it's predominantly cobblestone. That was a big ass wall as well, both in height and and in length. Yeah, it went all the way around like a massive area. But they covered it in swastikas, because obviously destroying it, I don't think griefers have that kind of patience. But yeah, that's my kind of like approach when it comes to griefing. It's just to build so much that it's almost futile trying to grief, because there's just too much to grief. That's why I'm glad that at the moment there aren't other players on here, because I'm building up all this shit. I mean, back in the old server, I had a sort of underground rail system because I had multiple bases, and basically all the materials that I got was split up between the bases, meaning that if one base went down or like we got nuked, I mean, it was mostly between me and my friends, and this was sort of when, you know, this was Tekkit Classic, so one of the servers we had ended in nuclear disaster due to disagreements, and it was actually a miscommunication that caused the destruction of everyone's bases, but it was entertaining nonetheless. I won't go into it, but yeah, so in this new server there was never any nuclear incidents or anything. A few see, we had a jail mod installed, so that, yeah, there were a few people who got jailed for just being dicks, basically. But the jail thing was quite fun as well. Yeah. So, yeah, I thought, right, okay, for the rest, I thought it's almost been an hour. Basically, I play an hour per episode and then time accelerator. So, it was kind of an awkward time. It was like, I think 4 or 5 minutes left, and I wanted to round it off at about an hour, but then ended up carrying on a bit longer than I should have. I thought I'd start building out the first line, even though I built a bit of the other line. That was mostly for structural reasons, so I could work out how I'm going to build the front of the base. But yeah, so... Hold it. Sorry, my screen goes blank because I'm just watching it. I'm not actually actively doing anything on it at the moment. Which is why I just sort of reacted like that. Anyway, so yeah, dropping off supplies, trying to keep my inventory like relatively organized and keep things so that I know roughly where they are. There's probably a load of shit that I've just dumped in random places that I've forgotten about. Leave that on charge, because I didn't do that last time. Anyway, that's it, guys. It's me, James ES, Tekkit Speedrun. Bye.